Um, we get asked this question a lot about the amount of money that somebody has. I'm just referring back now to the spreadsheet. The questions like, can I scale 3,000 euros from a small account? What do you suggest for education for people with no money? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just going to answer all those questions in one batch. Yeah, someone's asking now in the Q&A area, can I ask a question? Yes, it's a Q&A area. I mean, talk about unconsciousness. Let's get back to this question about small amounts of money. Okay. Unfortunately, guys, you know, trading requires money. Okay. It's kind of like showing up to play tennis without a racket and saying you're going to play with your hand. Good luck playing with your hand when you're playing against a guy with a racket. Okay. Same showing up to the golf course without golf clubs. You can't play golf without golf clubs, guys. You can't trade without capital, without money. Okay. You need money. So, you know, a lot of people always ask this question, you know, what shall I do? Like, what amount do I need? Well, the absolute minimum for taking an approach that works, which is long-short portfolio management, the entry level absolute minimum is $15,000 in your account. And even then, it's a lot more difficult to do it with 15 grand than say 25 or 50, because your progression is going to be slow. Now, why that is because, first of all, you need to have diversification in your portfolios. You can't have one or two positions. Okay. This is what happens when you have small or tiny amounts of money. You pile everything that you've got into one asset, one tradable asset. And then, of course, at some point it goes wrong. You puke, you trade out of everything, and you're down and you lose all your money. Okay. So the absolute minimum entry for diversification is 15K, but really you should be looking at 25K plus. Okay. That allows you to have 8-10 positions of decent size, both longs and shorts, negatively correlated, and you can trade around those assets. Okay. You can't play golf without golf clubs. When are people going to understand that? Like, you can't go up the competency hierarchy without money. You need money. It's really obvious. And this is another question we get about trading demo accounts, right? It's useless, guys. Absolutely useless. Like, demo accounts were invented by brokers to get you hooked to their platform. So people with little to no money getting hooked. So that, and then you open an account with $1,000 or 1,000 euros because you think you know what you're doing, and then you blow up. Okay. That's the unconscious level that we keep referring to. Trading and going round and round in circles and never going to the next level. The paycheck to paycheck thing. Yeah, it's a tough one because, you know, we can't be here to tell you a lie that for someone who doesn't have money, it's possible to make money in the financial markets. It's not. It really isn't. Okay. And it's really not up to us to organize your life for you. You know, it's hilarious. Back in the early days when I was discovering all this stuff, I would say this would be around 2012, 2013, when the Institute was, you know, first starting to get legs in the UK. We used to hold a seminar in London once a month. And there was a pub opposite where we used to go for drinks with the guys who attended the live seminar. And every month I used to get asked the same question by usually kids at university who are like 19, 20 years old. And I remember one time it got to a point where I was getting a bit bored of repeating myself all the time every month, where these 3 19-year-old guys who were at the London School of Economics, they were like 19, 20 years old. asked me exactly this question, like, how do I join the Institute? I don't have $15,000. And I took them outside the pub and took them on the street. And I pointed them down the road. And I asked them, what do they think is on that street over there? And I pointed them towards Tottenham Court Road. And I told them the biggest strip club in London is on that street, called Spearmint Rhinos. Okay. And there's 19 to 21-year-old girls in there making 250 grand a year dancing on a pole. Okay. And you're at the London School of Economics doing an economics, finance, and mathematics degree. And you are asking me, how do I make 15 grand? And their jaws just dropped. And I'm like, think about that for a second. You're at the top economics and business school in the UK, if not the world. And you're asking me, how do I make 15 grand to trade? Okay. Meanwhile, there's girls down there who are the same age as you with high school education making 250 grand a year, most of it non-taxable, okay? Because they're receiving it in cash, right? The real world works very differently, guys, okay? Like, think about this. If you don't have the ability to make $15,000 outside of the financial markets, okay, doing anything, I don't care what it is, okay, get your head around the problem of why don't I have 15K, let's make it, okay, and then you try and you can't, okay. Now think about that. So if you don't have the ability to make 15K doing anything in the world, okay, I don't care what it is, what do you think the financial markets are going to do to you or going to do to that person who lacks the ability to make money? What do you think the financial markets are going to do to you? Well, let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to absolutely rip you a new arsehole. They're going to take your money in seconds, okay? Because you don't have the ability to just make money outside the financial markets. So you're going in like a lamb to slaughter. And this is what happens to so many unconscious retail traders. Why? Because you're going in with $1,000 thinking you're going to take over the world. And what happens? You lose it immediately, within days, okay? So this question from Adam about having the 15K bare minimum to start properly. What do you say to somebody who doesn't have the money or lives paycheck to paycheck? Make the money. That's what I say to you. Make 25 grand doing something else before you even begin. 15, 25 grand. Make it before you try. Don't fall for the nonsense that you can deposit $500, $1,000 and you're going to have massive amounts of success. You're not. You're going to lose it. And then you'll try again next year and you'll lose it. And you'll try again the year after and you'll lose it. Go and make the money. And if you don't have the ability to make 15, 25 grand in your life doing something else, anything, what makes you think that you're going to make it in the financial markets, which is the most punishing area of all? The financial markets is much more punishing than real life. Like, the success rates are very low for retail. So why do you think you're going to be able to go into the market and make money with $1,000? It's a very, very unconscious way to think of how things work. It's a very naive way, okay? And